Please welcome our next speaker, Ms. Kendall Z80.
I wanted to get a dog for my entire childhood. My siblings and I had been asking my parents for one since we were little. I specifically remember in kindergarten being pretty close to getting one, or maybe I just let my hopes rise too high. I was walking in a single file line from the library to my kindergarten classroom, whispering to my friend about how I really thought we would finally get a dog soon, when in reality, my family and I had only talked about the possibility a few times. I didn't even care what breed of dog we might get. It was just about getting a dog. Any dog would do. Sadly, I remember my mom explaining to us that she didn't want a dog because she would end up doing all the work, which was fair enough because 3 of her kids were in elementary school. My dad tried to help us out by looking at different breeds and bringing up the conversation, but eventually they both knew it was the smart decision not to get a dog yet. Despite the sad news, I couldn't be too upset over something we never had, but that doesn't mean I gave up hope. Over the next couple of years, the conversation was brought up now and again, but nothing binding ever occurred. When my family and I went to our favorite relaxing vacation spot, Nantucket, the topic of dogs would inevitably come up. Nantucket has dogs everywhere, so I consistently asked my parents about the possibility of a puppy. Unfortunately, as I forgot to mention, my sister happened to be deathly afraid of dogs. But as my brother and I kept debating, she could easily get over that fear if we were to get a dog ourselves, right? Thankfully, though, our almost annual trips to Dog Island, aka Nantucket, ended up helping Claire rather than hurting her, at least after the first trip. Our first trip there, we went to Cisco Brewers for the live band, gorgeous scenery, and awesome food. Lucky for my brother and I, the place was packed with dogs, more golden retrievers than I could count, some labs, a Bernese mountain dog, and other kinds I wasn't sure of the name of yet. Unlucky for Claire, though, the place was packed with dogs. She cried in a tantrum, as an 8-year-old does, and refused to leave the car unless transported and carried on my dad's shoulders. She even mentioned it in her oratory speech. Sadly, our visit did not last long because of her fear, but we, specifically my brother and I, refused to accept her fear as a lifelong one. Over the years, Claire's fear lessened, and she truly put in work to become less afraid of dogs. In 2016, when my family and I were in Nantucket again, my sister, brother, and I went into my parents' room before going to sleep. I don't remember exactly how the conversation began, but I know my dad was researching different dog breeds and their varying characteristics on his phone. I was ecstatic. My siblings and I were thrilled and gave our opinions any chance we got. That one's so cute. I want a boy dog. Can we get 2? We looked at the traits of golden retrievers, Bernese mountain dogs, Australian shepherds, and a few others. Personally, I wanted a Bernese mountain dog. I was opposed to Australian shepherds only because they're extremely energetic and high-maintenance dogs. My dad was most interested in that breed, and I'm so thankful that we all ended up agreeing on our top choice being an Australian shepherd. However, the fight for actually getting a dog was not over yet. Although my dog is from a breeder and I love him, in the future when I hopefully get a dog as an adult, I'm excited to adopt any or all of my future dogs from shelters because I've learned more about the difference between breeders and shelters and how many dogs are in need of a home. It wasn't until 2017 that my dad started to email breeders of Australian shepherds. At the end of June, we were on an amazing trip to Europe to visit different locations in Italy and Switzerland. One night at dinner, we noticed a beautiful little golden doodle puppy walking by our table. Our sighting of the beautiful dog sparked up a conversation about which gender and what name our future dog would be. We went through various name options for both male and female dogs, and our discussion lasted the entire dinner. We decided we would probably get a male dog because we liked the shape of their face better than females, although we didn't really care as long as we and the dog were happy. We also decided on our future dog's name that night, Cisco. No, we didn't name him after the food company Cisco. we named him after Nantucket. Cisco Beach is one of our favorites, along with other ACK staples with Cisco-related names. Somehow, when my dad said the name, it was silent for a moment for the first time the entire meal. We all knew that would be our dog's name. The process of communicating with the different breeders was honestly stressful, and I wasn't doing any of the work. My dad emailed 2 different Australian Shepherd breeders, both a close enough drive to where we live, and we all waited patiently for a response. Our breeder responded, a nice woman who told us a litter is almost ready for adoption. We emailed back excitedly, but unfortunately never received a response back, even after a follow-up email to get back in touch. It was a roller coaster of emotions. Every time it seemed like we were getting close, something came up. Luckily enough, though, during our last few days on vacation, my dad found another breeder which had a litter that would be ready for adoption at the end of August. Our last day on vacation, my dad received an email telling us that we were able to come see the puppies and adopt one. Although this was only a few years ago in 2017, I started jumping up and down on the bed with overwhelming joy. Happy tears came to my eyes when I began to picture another member of our family that I've wanted so badly and for so long. When late August came, my parents, brother, and I drove up to visit the young puppies and hopefully choose which dog we were able to bring home with us only 2 weeks later. They weren't ready to be adopted yet because they needed more time with their mother. When we got there, after only 5 minutes, my cheeks were sore from smiling from ear to ear. The puppies were unimaginably cute, and their parents were beautiful as well. We were able to go into a small pen with all of the puppies, about 10 to 12 of them. It was one of the most fun experiences I've had. Some of the dogs already had sassy little personalities, including soon-to-be Cisco. During our time there, one puppy caught my eye. The breeder called her the runt of the litter, not because anything was wrong with her, but she was smaller and more timid than the others. She had mostly black fur with some spots of white and brown, and she was so calm in my arms compared to all the other puppies frantically running around and biting our shoelaces. But when I looked over to see if my family wanted any specific puppy, I saw that my dad had an immediate connection with one of the male dogs. He had mostly white fur, a blue merle, which we weren't planning on getting. But by the end, we did decide on him, which I was happy about, but I was sad to leave the little girl puppy who I felt a small connection with. After waiting a few weeks, we were able to bring our new dog home from the breeder and already began trying to train him to learn his name, Cisco. His crate and small pen for sleeping were put in my room, which I was thrilled about, only until his bathroom trips at 3 a.m. for the first 2 weeks. I was only 14 years old when we got him, and on some of those nights, a small part of me regretted getting a dog, which is awful to think about now because of how much I love Cisco. But over time, I was able to see his personality more and more every day, and I could and can feel how happy he makes me and how he completes our family. The early stages are hard, there's no question about it. There's a lot of training and cleanup and getting up early and having to stay home to watch the dog instead of going out, and some shoes and dog toys might be torn to pieces along the way. But after a while, I could tell that Cisco loves me too, and all the hard times with him were worth it. I always think I'm meant to protect Cisco. He's like my little brother and only 4 years old, but I can see him frequently trying to protect me too. When I'm walking him at night and we see someone across the street, he has no problem barking at them until they are out of sight. I wish I could know what he's thinking during those times, but I like to think that he's trying to protect me. Although either his protection or his need to bark at other people gets annoying when he begins to bark at small children on their tricycles. Hopefully, he's just trying to help me and doesn't understand why that's wrong. He does understand, though, when I'm unhappy. If he ever sees me cry, he'll rush over to smile in my face and try to lick my face as he shoves his paws one at a time out in front of me to hold. He never fails to make me laugh. Cisco's taught me a lot about animals, specifically dogs, and their feelings. Cisco's breed happens to be typically pretty smart, but it still impresses me that a dog can read a human's emotions. It's amazing how capable dogs can be when it comes to their families having negative emotions. I truly do wish I could know what goes through his mind, as many dog owners probably do too. It's crazy to think that I was the one in my family most opposed to the breed that Cisco is, and I wanted to get a different dog, considering he's now my favorite sibling. But it makes sense that Cisco felt a bond with my dad because he is Cisco's favorite out of the whole family. Sometimes, what we want so badly in life isn't what's meant to be. It's hard not to get caught up in wanting something so bad that nothing else seems right. But sometimes what comes into your life is for a reason, and it could be something that you are appreciative for the rest of your life. I'm truly grateful for Cisco and all the joy and happy memories he's brought into my life. Not only is my childhood dream finally complete, but I have a best friend for life.